Hey everybody, I'm Bethany and I'm a casting producer for Unscripted TV.
Hey, I'm Danny, and I'm also a casting producer for Unscripted TV.
And we are excited to bring you our new podcast, Casting Stories Untold.
We're back.
Welcome back. Welcome back to you and to us and to our audience. Hello. I'm so excited to be back.
We made it past season 1, and here we are.
That's right. Season 2, Casting Stories Untold. I'm so excited for to be back, and I'm excited about what we have coming up this season, the kind of refreshing improvements, all these fun things we have going on.
Season 2, fresh and new. Even though I
Yes.
wanted to do a lot more new things, I haven't gotten
Well, we can
to them,
incorporate
but
them as we go.
yeah.
Okay, speaking of coming back, should we chat a little bit about what we've been up to, what's going on, what we're thinking about? Do you want to go first? Little life
I mean, it's like
updates.
since we've been here, I mean, there's been so much has happened. But I mean, just Christmas break, I was back in New York, having such a great time.
Yeah.
Really kind of being like, huh, should I make a move? I feel, I don't know. It's been something that has been ruminating in my mind, and I really
Yeah.
don't know. Because if I moved there, I mean, I want to have some youth left in me living in New York, if I live in New York.
I hear
But
you.
I
I mean,
also need
that's
to
I
have
lived
some
there in my youth. That I can't imagine living there in my non-youth, but my opinion, I really think you should. I think it's a really good question and debate, and let's talk about it.
It is a debate that I am having a lot with myself. I just feel like I need to have much more money. But then I feel like there's the thought process that like make the jump, you'll make it work. And then I'm just like, oh, but
But you can always reroute. That's the thing. I feel like jump, take the chance, go for it, and then you can always be like, "Oh, well, let's see. Let this things change, so I'm going to change."
I can always reroute, but I can't always get re-grandfathered into like my apartment clause of what I had. Like that is probably
Yeah,
one
that's
of
the
the
biggest thing.
biggest
Yeah,
things holding
I
me
hear you.
in this place right now.
I hear you.
As
Well,
they're earthquake retrofitting it for the next month and I have no parking, but yes.
God. Well, I have a similar thing because, I think about obviously moving back because so I was in the Midwest for Christmas holiday, loving it, Fort Wayne, a winter wonderland. It was so fun to be not in LA in although it wasn't that hot here, but it just feels more like Christmas and obviously to be home with family and friends and loving that. And I think a lot about moving, which we can talk more about as we go. Of course, like Jade's in school here, so there's a lot that Yosh and I need to consider. But it's like that thing of you said of like sell it. I don't want to sell the house here and then not be able to come back because we've like sold it to move to Indiana. And so, but there's a lot of
And
thought
like
about moving.
and now your house is probably like so like you know what I'm saying? It's not you could just like easily buy a house here
Oh
if
my God,
you
there's
made
no way. There's no way.
yeah.
No, it's
Like, oh
crazy.
actually let's we sold the house, but let's buy another one.
Let's
Like,
let's move back. Oh my God, no,
that,
no.
that's see
So
that's
yeah, there's a lot of considerations. Well, as we go, let's keep talking that through.
Mhm.
Um, and get like input and advice, and let's have that be a conversation, I feel.
For sure, for sure. Also over the break we saw a fun Christmas show called Sleigh Ride.
Sleigh ride. It was so amazing and happens to feature our first and most fabulous guest today, who I actually cast on the GOAT. And if you all remember that, and she was a fan favorite of RuPaul's Drag Race season 5, and All Stars, and winner of Drag Race Global All Stars. I mean, so many things. Drag queen superstar Alyssa Edwards, woo, aka Justin Johnson. So, oh, woo! Hello,
Woo!
hello. How are you?
Hello, happy Friday. Oh my gosh. Well, welcome to my Get Ready room.
I mean, we are in it. This is amazing. I feel like I want a tour.
I, did you do that yourself or did you have like an organizer do this?
Well, listen, I'm a good project manager. How about that?
Okay.
I
Okay.
like that.
I had what was it? I think it was like Closets by Design come in, and I was like, look, I was very like particular, like this is where shoes go. This is my Capricorn meets my ADHD organization. I was like, this is and I'm a creature of habit. So I was like, I
Yeah.
need corset sparkles over here, foam wigs right here. I need, and they were like, oh, this is all new to us. What is a foam wig? What is a
Yeah.
corset sparkle?
They're like, we are learning. We are learning. Is it, do you have like a Google Doc of, like a spreadsheet of
I think you know what to look. I think it was like
inventory?
after a long rehearsal, I just sat down and sketched it out, probably like a couple nights before they came in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, this is definitely what I wanted. I mean, this is so I never thought I would be back in the closet again, but here she is.
Let's just do a really quick like intro, talk about, Justin and Alyssa and your accomplishments, if you don't mind just giving us a really quick chat about
Okay.
your experience.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Justin Johnson. I also create the character, the drag persona, Alyssa Edwards. I made my debut on television on RuPaul's Drag Race season 5. And from there, my gosh, the rest is her story. All Stars 2, and I am the very first winner of RuPaul's Drag Race Global All Stars. Just to name a few. I mean, also I like one thing I think that I tend to leave out a lot. We talk about Drag Race is my Netflix docu-series Dancing Queen, which features my dance school, Beyond Belief Dance Company, here in Mesquite, which I'm celebrating 25 years of owning my school this year.
That is, I had no idea it was that long. That's amazing. I wanted
25
to talk to you about
years.
that because I feel like that's kind of your really like your first passion, your like biggest love.
I
Um,
think, I think, I think, honestly, not to cut you off, but
yeah.
I love that we talk about this because Beyond Belief is truly my heartbeat. That is my love. I created this drag character. Believe it or not, I was a very shy, introverted, awkward kid growing up here in Mesquite from a large family, one of seven, in a very quintessential Southern family. I had a father that rode a Harley Davidson, very masculine. He believed boys were blue, girls were pink. And then there's me, his first son with my mom. And I wanted nothing to do with the football, a baseball, a basketball. I had four sisters, and when they polished their nails, I polished mine. And I think that I'm very fortunate that my fairy godmother came in the sense of a granny, a Southern granny who loved me, loved everything about me unconditionally, and I discovered dance early on in my life. So where I wasn't able to communicate with words, I was with um, my movement. I remember dance teachers telling my granny when I was young that I had a very clear clear sense of communication with like when you think of like pantomime, when you think of like gestural movement, and they're like, he's such a great storyteller. uh but I just didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to talk because I didn't fit in with other little boys. And then it was like,
Yeah.
but here's the thing, the plot twist in it all is at 19, I put on a wig for the very first time. And it was like, I always say it's like that Clark Kent and Superman. It's like, it's like I can't always be this character. But when she is called upon, she does come about. And like I said, I think creating Alyssa Edwards, it gave Justin a place, a sense of community. I found a whole world. I felt like Alice in Wonderland. I fell down a hole, and I remember going to this cabaret show. Oh my gosh, at 19, and seeing all of this and seeing these entertainers on stage. It just was mind boggling. And here's the thing: I'm not saying I'm old, but I am established. So this is before we had social media, before we had I mean, I don't think I had a handheld remote to the world at that age. I had a pager though. And
Oh, yeah.
the day
Same.
and the age of the beepers, oh my gosh. um
Which also, why did we need a pager or a beeper? We're not doctors. Like that was,
I
I had
mean,
one
come
too.
on
I was like,
now.
what? Why?
It was like technology really thought that they were ahead of it. It's like, call me,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I think I had like probably three people paging me. My granny was probably the most important. But I created this character. Like I said, it gave me an outlet. I knew at 16 that I wanted to be a choreographer. I wanted to be the Steven Spielberg of it all. As much as I love being on stage, as much as I love sharing my life and traveling the world, and as Alyssa Edwards, Beyond Belief Dance Company brings me back home. and it is my whole world. It is my life, and I still love it today. I'll be 46 in a few days. I love it today as much as I did when I was, um, you know, 12 years old, a young little boy in my jazz class. Netflix came to me with this idea of they wanted to do this docu-series about this dual life I live. And I was a little like apprehensive because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of like a little not private, but just to myself. Um, in
It's
the sense
different,
of like,
right? It's
it's
different
very
putting yourself
different.
out there as Alyssa and then having them come to your sort of sacred imagined place,
Absolutely.
right?
And
Yeah.
and these are like also, we've seen shows like what is it, this Dance Moms with where Abby is like a great TV character, but the difference is I'm actually these kids' teacher and their mentor. And so you know, it's my safe space. But I was really proud of myself for being brave and courageous, and all the parents were open. And here's the thing, being a gay man in Texas, and being a drag performer in Texas, I'm very fortunate that these families have allowed me to be their children's coach and mentor and their leader and guide. And that's a win in itself.
Absolutely. I want to talk to you about that, Justin, because I'm from Indiana originally, so I
Yes.
get that, right? Like, so because there's that I'm sure pull of like, oh, should I do New York or should I do LA? But you're being in Texas and having them have that safe place to come in that community must mean so much. Is that part of the reason that you
I,
stayed
I,
in
here's
Texas?
it. I stayed in Texas, and everyone asks me this all the time. It's like, well, first I want to say, Danny, that show is called Dancing Queen. So like, if you got a weekend, it's an easy, fun watch. It's total camp. It's comedy. It's fun. It's heartfelt. It shows me going on a date with very nice fella, not a match for me. Uh, and it's like every angle of my life. But the children do start at probably 4. Ansley, who was on Dancing Queen, who was like one of the features, one of the little stars, she started at 3. And fun fact. Fast forward, she's now 15, and she actually stays with me and Steve throughout the week. And we take her to the Arts Magnet School where she goes here in downtown. And so it's kind of like we were on gunkle duty,
Yeah.
for the first half of her getting into her high school years. But they start at 4 and they go all the way to 18. And, it's competitive. And we've also been featured on America's Got Talent twice. And this last time I took my younger kids, and they were, what is that? They were Simon Cowell's Wild Card Act for the semifinals. And so, I feel like I've devoted my life. I think when your passion and your purpose collide, I mean, that's magical. It's like, I'm very fortunate that I get to. I've never felt like I've had to work a day in my life. I mean, look at me. I'm still excited. I'm getting talking about it all these years later. And it's hard. It's hard. It's hard work because I'm not only coaching these kids, I'm also coaching Texas stage moms and dads and dads and dads. But they're all not only um, celebratory of me and my work, they're accepting and they're appreciative. And that makes it all worth it. And I will tell you, yes, growing up in Texas, for a very long time, I didn't want people to know what I did in my personal life. I felt like I would be judged. I felt like my work would be judged, and maybe I would be frowned upon. And
Mhm.
um, I remember probably, in the top 5. Here we go, being brave and courageous again. When Drag Race came about, I was like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can tell the world. I was like the real life Hannah Montana of it all. And yeah, so
Oh,
when that came about, I was like, I don't think I can let people know that I have this alter ego that only comes out once every now and then. When I need my kicks to go on stage. Like I said, I never had a dream of being a stage performer. I mean, isn't that crazy how life,
yeah.
can throw in that plot twist, that trick of fate?
Yeah,
Um,
pull you where you need to be. for
Did
Yeah,
your
but talk
family
about
not
being
know?
proud. I'm proud.
Did your family not know about you doing drag before you went on Drag Race?
Well, I mean, I think my grandmother had an idea, but here's the thing: it wasn't like I was doing it on a cabaret cast. I would pop in shows. What they had here actually was a Thursday night amateur night. It was like an open stage night, and it was like you would put this little act together, and you would go and you would get there early, turn in your CD. Oh my gosh, now I'm really showing my age.
Yeah.
That's a compact disc for all of you young viewers.
Mhm.
uh and I would I would do my little act, and then at the end of the night they would bring us all back out, and the audience would, basically by the response of the audience, they were like a winner, and then you would come back the next Thursday as a guest, right? And I did this for a while, and then there were queens, more seasoned queens, that started taking note of me, and they're like, "Wow, you're really talented. Your stage presence and your ability to dance and the choreography." It was quite fascinating because in the South, pageantry is huge. So they're like, "You should get into a pageant." I was a pageant. I remember watching Miss Texas with my granny and my sisters, and you know, the next thing I know, 4 years later, I won Miss Texas. I did my very first pageant that year. Of course, I didn't tell anybody. With the help of my tribe, my friends, and I met my mentor. That is where I got the Edwards last name, because Alyssa came from me wanting to be similar to Alyssa Milano.
I
and
heard
my
that. I was going to ask you if that's true.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I actually met her MTV over COVID. Surprised me with this, and so I talk about her in every interview because I remember watching Who's the Boss growing up, and I was like, I go into my first drag show. The MC, this old campy drag queen, was like, "What is your name?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I haven't gotten one just yet. I'm still workshopping that." And she's like, "Well, honey, you got about 2 more seconds to complete this workshop." And I didn't even take one. I looked right at her and I said, "It's Alyssa." And she said, "Of all the names you could be, of all the creative names you could create, you want to be a fucking Alyssa?" And I remember looking at her, I said, "I sure do." And she was just like, and little did she know, honey, a star was born.
Okay.
but, I told my grandmother before Drag Race aired. Of course, at that point, she was like the only one who she, she knew, but she didn't like, no.
Yeah.
She knew that I did Alyssa. She knew that I had this character because the night that I won Miss Texas, she was there, but she didn't know like what all that entailed. She was there the final night of the pageant. She watched me get crowned, and she was like, "Justin, I think this is fun. And I think this is fabulous. And I think that, you're being authentic to yourself." And, of course, my granny is like, I always say, is like the first drag queen truly that I ever met. We would go to church every Sunday, and my granny would get up. She was always done up for the gods. And I I remember looking at her and like, people like Joan Collins, and I was like, this is the character that I want to be. So I think a lot of who I am today, the apple did not fall far, and is because of her. And so then when she got to watch Drag Race, it was like, woo! It was like, okay, it was opening the barn, the barn, the double doors, the French doors, all of it. It was like she definitely got a peek into my world and what drag really meant and what it meant to me and the community that drag has built and cultivated. And I'll tell you, when it came out in the Mesquite paper, they're like, Justin Johnson from Mesquite, Texas, acclaimed choreographer, is on a reality television show dressed up like a woman. I was like, it was, I was very afraid. I remember walking into the studio that day, actually. And I remember uh, very stoic. And I thought, just don't make a big deal. Just, it was very quiet. Everybody's heads were just like this. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to get judged. And I was so nervous. And I remember this like it was yesterday. And I got an email um, from one of my students. Um, several students actually, but one that really stuck out to me um, was just like the father was a police officer and was like, I'm so very, you know, honored that my children get to study from someone that is so gifted and so talented. And we want you to know, Justin, that we're proud of you. And that meant so much to me to hear those words. And it was like affirmation that what I'm doing is right. And, of course, then we got to watch how all that unfold. The next thing I know, I'm doing back rolls and all of these things and being silly in camp. But it was a good time.
Well, and what you possibly opened up for those kids, right? Of the parents, like maybe they saw something in you that they've been seeing in their kids and weren't ready to sort of like talk about that or have conversations. I'm sure it was just like a
Well, yeah, I mean,
door.
it was a snowball effect. It was
Yeah.
like, it did. A lot of conversation came about. How did you create this character? And that's why I never went to LA. That's why I never decided on New York. That's why I said there will be another little Justin in Mesquite. And if it's not a Justin and it's not a Justina or a Jesse, you know,
Yeah.
a Julie, there will be someone like me that people can maybe go, I'm a little like this person. And it's okay being the odd, the oddball, the odd duckling,
Yeah.
and of it all. Because here's the thing: this person gives me hope too.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
Have you taught any little Justins that you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like this is like little me when I was
Mhm.
5, 6, 10.
No, these kids are so courageous now. They walk in at 7 and 8, and they walk in with their fathers, and their nails are polished, and their dads are giving them a high five. And oh my gosh, you know what? Here's the thing. I remember, oh my gosh, now I'm really being nostalgic and just in my feelings and reading my journal out loud. I remember at one point waiting on the world to change. And now I'm so proud to say that I'm a part of that change. So when I see these young one, people come in, they're just like, and nowadays, listen, it's cool to be flamboyant and fierce.
Yeah.
You're like the cool kid, right? It's
Yeah.
like what was it on Mean Girls, the character what was his
Oh,
name?
the guy?
Yes, what was his name? We're losing
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Um,
losing my gay card right
I
now.
mean,
Edit this out.
I
Oh
know,
my
I know.
God.
Oh my God.
we'll edit this out. We'll cut this
Oh God.
Yeah,
I
but
honestly,
pause out.
it's like, here's the thing. It's like it is cool now to be your authentic self and to be fierce and fabulous. And where back in my day it was like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
what can I do to not get any attention on me and to play
To fit
small?
in, to
Yes,
exactly, to
it's,
conform, to
yes.
assimilate. I understand. Yeah.
And
I
I
remember.
like Dr. Seuss said, I wasn't born to fit in. I was definitely born to stand out. And so that was hard for me to navigate, here in Mesquite. And I went to West Mesquite High School. I went to West Mesquite Baptist Church. And so you can already paint the picture of what this was.
I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. Like how even in what 10, 15 years, drag went from being like, even in just like the gay community, kind of like, ooh, and now it's like you are the coolest person in the room and you kind of came up during the time when it was like, I remember being a kid growing up, we only knew RuPaul, and it would be like an insult, like, who are you, RuPaul? And now that's like, uh, she's like the coolest thing ever. It's crazy, especially you coming in, starting from where you did to where it is now.
And being part of that flip, right? Of being part of that change of make how it's cool now.
Yeah, I always say, like, there were so many that came before me. I call like the trailblazers, the pioneers,
Yeah.
that gave us permission. In those nightclubs, we were celebrating the art of drag, right? At midnight, okay, underground, and RuPaul championed this show. I think they pitched it for 8 years. And then it gets picked up by Logo. And I think the budget was probably $5, right? and but here's the thing, baby, us queens, we know how to take that $5 and turn it into well, at least we know how to look like 5 million, all right, on $5. And I think that now when last season when I came out with Rue on the show and I'm looking at this young crop of queens, they're in their 20s and they're like, I grew up watching you on TV. I just smile on the inside. And I know it must be radiating, on the out because it brings me joy because like I said, there was no one like me on TV.
Right.
You know, there wasn't a channel I could turn on and watch people just being themselves and playing dress up. That's all this is. This
Yeah.
is like playing
Right.
dress up. And it's our superpower and it makes people smile and giggle and it makes people like they can be themselves. And it's an art form that I like. It's a creative expression. And I am proud that I was a part of that,
Yeah.
$5 budget series that started that was a labor of love, for World of Wonder. And then upon me leaving Drag Race, then I remember being there and um, I was a lovely runner up, and I always laugh about that because I didn't know where this would lead me. I had no idea, no idea. And the next thing I know, Randy Barbado, who's the executive producer of Drag Race, him and Bailey, who own World of Wonder, were like, we need to get that Alyssa and create a YouTube series. I didn't know what that meant. I was, I wasn't on YouTube, and in fact, I didn't even have an Instagram. Logo called and was like, "Can you create an Instagram?" I was like, "I don't really know how to do that." And I mean, so we're going way back, right? I mean, we're right. We're celebrating now season 18, and so I would go in the basement of World of Wonder's office, and we created Alyssa's Secret, and that went on for years. I was the very first um, if I'm yeah, I was the very first web series that launched Wow Present Plus, their platform that they have now for streaming, and it was just me sitting in a basement talking about nonsense, like like what my first date was like, and from everything from childhood to life to banter to fun to celebrating holidays, and here we are.
You talked about not really having, this master plan or this like
Yeah.
5 year, 10 year plan. You just sort of let the, is that, am I understanding that correctly? That you
Oh, there was
talking,
no plan. I mean,
yeah,
because here's the thing: it was like this is like I said, it's a form of creative expression.
right,
And at this time, Drag Race wasn't an Emmy award-winning show series. It wasn't it, it, the world was not celebrating drag on a mainstream level just
right,
yet. They were still a little intimidated. And I think, here's the thing. I understood that because the fear of unknown, maybe of representation.
yeah,
And I think, people didn't know. They were just like, what do we do with this? How do
right,
we, it's like, but I love like now we're seeing, like last night I watched Traders premiere and I see Monet Exchange and I'm like, this makes me so happy.
yeah,
But in my mind, I'm like, hold on. There's 5 housewives, there's 5 gamers, and one. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. I'm gonna need, okay, come on now. Come on.
yes,
But then you look around the room and I'm like, she's in drag, he's in drag, that person's in drag. And I love it. Drag has like inspired pop culture,
yep,
the world we live in now. I love what RuPaul said. We're all born naked and the rest is drag. And I believe that.
true,
We wake up, we put on something that makes us feel confident. It's like you pick out your clothes, what color hair you want, maybe what accessories. And
mhm,
it's what makes you feel confident in how you can move about in the world, being the best version of yourself.
right, and what you want to show to the world, right? How you want the
Yes,
world to see you and interpret you. Yeah, that's what you control, not what they put on you, right?
absolutely. I always say that dance gave me a world to believe in. Okay. It gave me a purpose. It definitely introduced the meaning of passion. And then drag gave me a voice and a microphone. And I turned that microphone on high. And it gave me a community. And I found my people. I found a tribe. I found other Justins. I found other people that were like me. The night I won Miss USA, I remember, at this point, looking at all of it and sitting down with my family. Drag Race had already came out. The Miss USA was a celebratory night because that was huge for me, right? I thought this would be it. This would be the pinnacle. You did it. Oh my gosh, you did something and you did it for yourself. Fast forward, Drag Race. I remember my grandmother, at one of the family holidays saying, I always wanted one of my granddaughters to be a Miss Texas or a Miss USA. Little did I know it would be my grandson. And it was like, this is the world changing.
Yeah.
This is the world changing. This is the power of drag and the art form. And it was like her being like campy and catty and funny, but endearing. And I remember telling her, like, that means so much to me, Granny, that, you know, you were one person that was steadfast in my life that loved me for me. You never wanted to change me. You never wanted to, if I wanted to polish my toenails, you let me do it. If I wanted to sing and dance in the front yard with a ribbon dancer, you didn't tell me to go to the backyard because maybe you were afraid of what the neighbors would say or if they would judge you. So I'm very blessed. I am very blessed. Here we are. I'm blessed and highly favored over here.
Was your dad on board with all of that? Did he take a minute to kind of come around to that? Did you have to like hide
Yeah.
that with your granny?
Oh, 100%. I mean, my granny moved me in with her. My father, he came on season 5 of Drag Race, and I don't know how they got him. Do you know when they used to do the untucks and they would bring people in? It was the most touching thing. I was 32 years young when I appeared on season 5, and I'll never forget because my dad was like, I'm not going to have a sissy for a son. My dad was a macho man. He was the man of the family, and he was raised in Alabama and then lived in Mississippi and then Texas. He was a Southern man. But I remember when he came on Drag Race, I've never seen my father cry. I've never seen him be vulnerable because boys don't cry. I didn't understand what I was doing wrong because I didn't know and he didn't have the words and he wasn't educated enough to maybe teach or share with me. And so we missed out on a whole lifetime of a relationship. So when he came on Drag Race, he said, um, I hated God for giving me a gay kid because that wasn't what I wanted. But it took me years to realize sometimes you have to get what you don't want to change and grow and learn as a person. And I hated it was at the expense, basically, of losing a relationship with you. And I've learned the power of forgiveness. I think is the strongest emotion. And at this point, I don't harbor any hate. Um, uh, I think that my father grew up a product of his father, and instead of him being strong enough to break the chain, okay, and the generational curse, he didn't have that within his reach and his grasp. And I have to learn to give grace and that's okay. And he's close with my siblings. They're all very, very close. Me and Steve, seeing them for the holidays last year. And so it's like I don't I don't have necessarily any hate or just a disappointment because I was so loved by my granny and my mother and my siblings. I'm very close with them. So I think it was just him. And here's the thing, that's something internally that he was going through. And yeah, I think that all stems from a family that's look. I think my father might have went to a couple of years of high school, and so I can't at this point in my life go. I've learned to instead of judge, I've learned to release, 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 and I do think that he's done his absolute very best to change and come around. And here's the thing, I have friends still to this day that their parents never came around. I just learned to say, listen, your opinion of me. I watched Tu Wong Fu and I never forgot this quote.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. When she said, your opinion is neither desired nor required. It changed me. It changed me. And I said, I will stop apologizing for being me. I will stop apologizing. I will stop apologizing for being me. And this person in the mirror, it's taking me many years to look at this reflection in this man and love him, flaws and all, and celebrate him and work to each and every day to become the person that I'm destined to become. I feel like I'm giving a sermon over
I
here.
mean, you are preaching. You are preaching.
I'm
And I
feeling it.
and I think there is a literal congregation for that because I think a lot of people can relate to that, Justin, about justifying your
Yeah.
existence and having to be someone for other people. So I think a lot of people can take value from what you're saying.
Yeah.
And
And then
also,
it's like, look, going from Drag Race, and then that's cut you off, Danny. It's like,
yeah,
then here I am walking into the Goat Manor. And I want to say thank you, for giving me that opportunity. This was a project that I was immensely, like, a little nervous about, because I had no idea, taking, being a drag performer in the workroom, I found my comfort space, right? And then
Right.
walking into the Goat Manor with these other characters, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like going back to high school again, or a high school reunion, or like, what if people don't understand me? And it was like, oh, honey, oh, that's all behind you now. See, the thing is, when you went into high school years ago, you were the kid that people could just push down, knock over, and I would move and get out of the way. No, 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 not
No
now.
longer.
She's the leader of the pack, baby. She's the president of the student council. And and it
Make
was like,
way.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
was so celebrated on the first day, and the other people were like, "We loved you on your series, Netflix, Drag Race. And then I remember meeting Kristen from Vanderpump Rules, and she's like, I was introduced to you watching you on America's Got Talent with your students, and how much you invested in them. And then I went down you know, a rabbit hole and saw these other things that you've done, and it's just incredible. And I thought, gosh, this is the world. I'm so glad the world finally caught up.
Right, right. Yeah, I was gonna ask how that felt going because yeah, on Drag Race, you obviously had Alyssa to sort of, I don't know, lean on or lean
Yeah,
into, right? But the show like Goat, where you really have to just it's Justin, pretty
yeah.
much, right? So what is that like for you? Is there a comfort when you can you talk us through that a little bit? Like the difference of being Justin and being Alyssa and
the
all that
duality
entails.
of it
Yeah, the
all.
duality.
Yeah, I love that. Well, here's the thing. I say, I'm two. I would say two very different characters, right? But they've kind of somewhat a little have intertwined, all because it stems from now being unapologetic, right, in life. And I think for a very long time, I think as Justin, look, I'm just like, this, like, Pee Wee Herman meets Mr. Clean kind of situation. Um, and and I'm like, I don't want to say introverted, but I'm au- I'm authentically odd. In all the fun good ways, right? And I've learned to own those. At one point, I remember being a young queer and going, oh my gosh, where do I fit in with the gays? Okay, do I go over here? In Dallas, we have like a country club. Um, we have a club where, like, I remember they were saying, like, oh, these were all the bears go. And I'm like, what is a bear? And then I was like, do I go over here? You know this. Danny, you understand this,
Oh
right?
yeah, and I've been to that Dallas strip many times.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, where do I go? I was like, where do the people go that like art, that are eccentric? And so, like, I definitely have this, like, two character in one situation where Alyssa is like, I mean, she's the Southern lady. I mean, she is the belle of the ball, the Joan Collins. And so it's like total opposite for me. And I do a really good job with morphing. I always tell people I'm a Power Ranger, and I can morph that quick um, into my character. But I also think too, in my home life, what people found interesting watching the Netflix series, is I'm kind of plain. I know you're right now seeing me in my closet, but if I went downstairs, I did MTV Cribs, and the amount of comments on Architectural Digest, excuse me, they're like, we didn't expect this. We thought you would be living like in Pee Wee's Playhouse. And I'm like, my house is very, like, it's grays and whites and minimal. And I say minimal, but I do have a, like, mirrored panther life size. So I have a few little like,
Yeah.
little
Little
trinkets,
nods and shout out.
queerness, lingering around. But I think I need that, you know, to come home to a very calm space because my head is like it's going. And I think as a creator and as a creative person, and that someone that is a people person, I do like moments of quietness and stillness. I need to recharge. Um, and so two different characters. Like I said,
Yeah.
that's the Clark Kent and the Superman.
What about the duality of being, I feel like, soft and hard? Because I feel like you gain this respect from, especially probably the fathers, because there's also that, like, they can tell or they know that you have that side to you that you're not
Yeah.
gonna, like,
Yeah.
don't F with me.
No, yeah. I think that comes the tough love. That's the coach in me. I always tell people I'm not um, just a dance teacher. I'm a dance coach. And like I said, this is an accumulation of years. I want to write a book one day about being a coach to the youth of today that will be the future of tomorrow. Because so many life lessons I learned in a dance studio. And I had hard teachers, I had tough teachers, okay? And so I think that's my tough love mentality. Then circle back around, getting into the world of pageantry and drag and all that. Oh, I had to build thick skin quick, you know, and um, and then it's like I said, having the opportunity to be in a room with RuPaul, who is to me, um, oh, I got my RuPaul candle right here, blessing the room. This is a person who was in the mall in the '90s, 8 foot tall, black person with a platinum blonde wig on in a time when drag wasn't celebrated, was steadfast champion this opportunity for all of us. I have so much respect for this person, and um, when I watch Rue navigate on any set, I was Rue's plus one for the MTV Movie Awards, and we're doing interviews because at this point Rue was like, "We're building a show around you," and I didn't know what that meant. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to the MTV Movie Awards. This is like big from Mesquite to Hollywood. Oh my God, I'm doing it up. And I'm going to be dressed up in drag. I don't know if people are going to understand, but oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it was incredible. It was a masterclass. It was a masterclass. I watched Ru do interview after interview and the timing and the wit. And it was like, wow, wow, this was the first drag queen or drag performer. I love what did he say on what was it, Jimmy Kimmel? Drag queen.
Oh, yeah.
Drag queen. I'm the queen of drag. I love that, right? It just reminded me when I said that. But though truthfully, I say this, like I said, think about it. 8 foot tall black man in a platinum blonde wig walking in the mall. It in the 90s
Yeah.
was not happening. It was,
No, the courage that must have taken.
because people often ask me, where did this come from? And how did you develop that self-confidence? And well, I grew up watching Oprah, okay? Every day at 4 o'clock, me and my granny would watch Oprah.
4 o'clock, yes.
Yeah, and so I remember on season 5, I made the mistake of reading the comments because you're on TV and you're like, I am on TV. This is a big deal, and even though it was Logo at that time was a small network. I mean, in my mind, I'm like, this is like prime time. Okay, we're on ABC now, and so I read a blog, and the journalist was like, wow, there's this really interesting queen from Texas that is a very bizarre guy. Then started to like describe me, was like, and is really, really odd by the way he looks. There's a big forehead. There's like, and started singing all these things. So I was like, and at the time I was like, oh my God, do I have a big forehead? Or, oh my God, do I have like an overbite that's distracting? Or, oh my gosh, do I have a little ears? Or does my nose look a certain? And I started, and then I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I had to catch myself. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What I didn't realize is all of those things were not negative. Those were like characteristic traits that would make me stand out.
Mm.
Like Madonna having a gap. We talk about this. It's like sometimes you're blessed with something that makes you unique and that makes you you. And I had to really, really sit down with myself one night and get in the bath and go, wait a minute, we're going to baptize ourselves tonight because we're starting over tomorrow. And we're going to remind ourselves. We're going to remind ourselves. And then I learned, I giggled at all of that. All of those things would be things that would make me, because I thought, well, should I change all these things? Should I fix these things? Should I? Absolutely not. You'd be proud of all these things. That doesn't mean I don't like it, or enjoy a Botox shot or a injection or I always say it's good to supersize yourself,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
there's no need for you to change anything about you.
I love that because I feel like I mean, I know I do, and I would imagine everyone does. You look in the mirror and you're like, this, I would do this. I don't like this.
Yeah.
Like, pick, just pick, 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 pick. But it's like, yeah, you're so right that it's just kind of like, then you wouldn't be you. And I actually don't like when I see someone get so much plastic surgery that they don't recognize them anymore. I'm like,
Yep.
no, you're not you
Yeah,
anymore,
yeah,
kind of.
Yeah. It's like, because when you see yourself on TV, you're like, oh my gosh. Um, you start picking yourself apart. And it is, I mean, listen, I found myself going, I don't know if that was the best dress or if that was the best outfit, or I don't know. And then I'm like, and then I have to learn to just giggle and laugh.
yeah.
I'm like, laugh, just laugh and move on, keep it moving. And every now and then I'll find myself saying like, uh, oh, did the people enjoy this segment that I was on? Like, oh, I was on Good Morning America. So when it's stuff like that, it's like, did they enjoy it? Because it's like a different audience, right?
Mm.
Uh, and then I'm like, you know what? But even if they didn't, I did. And what I've learned is some are reality, some are gonna enjoy and some are not. And that's okay.
So you said you obviously were, but you didn't have Instagram or anything like that. How were you cast? Were they on boots on the ground, or how did they cast? Did you apply? What happened
For
there
which one?
for the original
The
RuPaul?
initial RuPaul.
Okay, so back in my day, it was word of mouth. The queens would get off the show, and so many of the queens were like, um, talking about pageants. And then we had like people like, Shangela, who was like someone who backup danced for me, and then was like during the pageant days, and was like someone who idolized what I did, okay, from the pageant circuit. And then we had people like Manila, also from the same ideal, and God rest her soul, Sahara Davenport. And Sahara told them, she's like, if you guys really want the queen of Texas, you know, all of this right here, there is an inspiration. Y'all need to look at is Alyssa Edwards, and it was Chanel that got me casted that year, and was like, I auditioned originally for season 4, and I was like, well, just I remember Alexis Mateo, Sahara, Shangela, everybody. You've got to put in this tape. You've got to put in this tape. And I was like, I don't really know. Like I said, I was indecisive. If I wanted to be seen in this light on television. It was like to be honest with you, it was like a very fun, campy tape. I was looking at it more of like a pageant, because I think in my mind, I'm like, this is the ultimate pageant. You've already been Miss Texas, Miss USA. I won Miss America, then was dethroned, and that was the biggest scandal of the time. And I always, that's why I said on season 5 of Drag Race, I was the Vanessa Williams of drag. And so people were like, oh my God, was there like wild photos, or was there like, did she get locked up, or what was going on? It was like, no, none of that. It just, the owners felt like the dance studio was my center of attention and focus, and I couldn't argue that with them, and it was what it was.
What I find so cool about, I mean, so much about it, but when you think about that community rising up and putting each other forward, you just that doesn't happen anymore. I mean, really, they were putting your competition in the spotlight, which is so cool and so just tells so much about, this amazing drag community and what a
Yeah,
blessing it is. Yeah.
absolutely, because I think especially at that time, um, it was a tight knit. We
Yeah.
had like, drag families, and I mean, those people that were, some would say colleagues, our friends, they really became our family.
Of
You know,
course.
we became each other's family
Right.
and support system. And um, because like I said, the whole world wasn't as celebratory at that time,
Right.
you
Right.
know.
Well, and just your colleagues and your family, sometimes that's really hard for people to not be jealous of someone or see their friend or someone that they consider sort of competition getting all this attention and spotlight. So to be able to overcome that because of the importance
Yep.
of shining a light is just really says something.
I mean, absolutely. You know, it was like, look, there's enough of the pie for us all to have a piece, a slice, even a little nibble. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and also too, it's not going to dim your light because you celebrate someone else's.
Right.
You're such a good storyteller. I feel like I'm a little audience member. Like
I know. I'm
you
just
tell
like,
your stories so well. Like
I feel like I'm talking a lot. I hope I'm getting I answered the questions. I know it's like I watched Traders last night and I'm like,
is that the one show that you think you would want to do? I mean, I know obviously I'm casting traders right now. We talked about traders, but like
yeah.
what shows do you think you could do? Survivor, I feel like
Ooh. Okay,
what
so I grew up watching MTV's The Challenge.
same.
so do
Okay, so
we.
I go back in the days of like, oh my gosh, CT and God rest her soul, DM. I go back in those days, in the early days of the challenge, and I'm like, I love, love, love. Um, oh, and in the real world, are those? Do you remember those shows?
Yes.
Those were the shows. That was the first time I saw like really a gay person on TV was Pedro.
With Pedro. Yeah,
Yeah. And
absolutely.
that was a big deal for me. That was a very big deal for me because I had a lot of questions. And, I was like, whoa, I'm starting to feel something about myself. Like, is something wrong? Is something I needed, yeah, that was a really, really big time for me. But I grew up watching those shows and also too, I think shows that have anything that involves athleticism. Something that I enjoyed about the goat was I remember people celebrating me in the challenges. And, you know, I was the gay kid that was never picked, okay, by the boys to be on the baseball team or the sports at school, right? So it's like when I'm excelling now, I'm like in my Barry's boot camp, physical fitness era, life change. It was like me getting in the mirror as I'm putting on eyeliner and I'm like, honey, you did it. And you did it your way. And look at you now and here out running these grown men. And truthfully, what you're doing is you're outrunning that little Justin that was scared all those years of running because maybe you wouldn't run as fast or maybe you ran with your arms. And it's like it's another moment in life where I'm like, all right. All right. And you keep like showing up for yourself. That's what it is. You
That's
keep
what it
showing up
is.
for yourself. And I find myself like sending DMs to these people on TV. And I'm just like, I want you to know I see you and thank you for giving someone like me courage, and to say, look, don't be afraid to face your fears. We've seen Sari go from survivor to traders. And
Yes.
it's like, she was like, look, I had to get off the couch to play a game to challenge myself. I love stories like that. I love stories. And those are the people that I find compelled to watch on these kind of shows. But the traders, I'm like, it would be interesting for me. Obviously, once again, the duality of the character. I'd want to come in as Alyssa and drag in the character, but I wouldn't want to be too flamboyant and over the top. I think to be a good trader too, you know, you really need to have the mindset of a faithful, and allow the people to trust you and to gain their trust.
Mhm.
And so I think that would be a fun show for me too.
You think you'd be great on it
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
for sure.
Well,
Do you think I would be a trader or a faithful? What would you think?
well, I think a trader, and I do agree with what you're saying. You have to really go in as though, like believe in yourself that you're a faithful.
You're
So that's
faithful.
where I would see
You
you.
have to have the mindset of a faithful because here's the thing: at the end of the day, the idea is to save the village, right? The faithfuls want to save the house. It's all in fun. I'm going to apologize to everybody I'm lying to. I'm going to take them all to the buffet when I walk away with this $250,000.
What do you when we talk? So we talked about what shows you'd be great for. I know Danny has we have a couple questions.
Yeah.
Also, we don't want to leave without asking a couple questions. But what do you like? What do you think is next? I know you're not a person who has like planned out your life, but what would be
Yeah.
exciting to you? What's coming up here?
Like I said, I would like to write a book one day,
Yes.
the memoir of a traveling queen.
Let me tell you, I will be listening to the audiobook.
I will be reading it.
I think what I'm hopeful for is to be steadfast and, continue down my yellow brick road.
I love that.
I love that, Justin.
Hope that wasn't too boring. And just edit out some of the F words.
Yeah. I don't even. Did you say any? Maybe.
Yeah, I don't even think you
that.
curse that much.
Amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing. And you mentioning that your time is precious because it is, right? That's the only thing that the resource we don't have more of. So we appreciate you spending that with us so much that you are gifting us with this time of yours. So thank you.
No, thank you I want to say thank you both for the conversation and thank you for reminding me. It's like when we have these conversations, this dialogue with people that have been a part of whether it's our trajectory or someone that's been a part of watching us develop on TV, especially at this place and this time, it's important for us to be celebratory of people accomplishing their goals, going for their goals, reaching higher, dreaming big, messing up, falling down, getting back up and carrying on. Because like Martha Wash said, when the valley is deep, we carry on. And
Martha Washington said that?
No, I said Martha Wash.
Oh.
You know the song?
It's like,
Martha,
I've never heard her quoted.
What in gay hell? I carry on when the valley is deep. I'll be strong. You said Martha Washington?
I was like, was she next to George when she's like, what?
Oh, you just really took me there on a Friday. Well, now, y'all, that's a theme song for a Friday.
Yes,
a theme song.
That's my theme song for 2026.
Carry on. I love it. Martha Wash.
But thank y'all for celebrating all the things that this world is doing with drag. Yes. And being queer. We need more queerness on TV. We need it. And I think queer voices and I want to say shows like Traders, watching Alan coming out every week, and Fierce Rhinestones and avant-garde couture and fabulousness. It's going to inspire people and it's going to give other people hope. And it's like I said, the more representation, the more opportunities people can learn about, us as people first. And love is love. The world will continue to change and be a better place.
Amen. And we are in that fight with you. We are trying to put more queerness. We are always putting those people up and fighting the good fight on the back end.
Me and Frankie just went on tour, and
we saw you.
We were there at Sleigh Ride.
What are you talking about? Yes, and I just started to get into the Big Brother thing. I'm like, talk about a commitment. This show is a commitment, right?
100 days.
You have to commit when you watch this show. And it looks like that would be hard because you're like.
I think that's the hardest reality show. Because remember also, Justin, they don't have anything to look at. They don't, on Survivor, they don't have producers with cameramen. They can't communicate. It's literally locked in a house with nothing that you ever can communicate with or your creature comforts. Ooh. Tough show.
Oh my gosh. And imagine if you're in a show with people that you're like, girl, you get on my nerves. You get on my last gay nerve.
Well, and of course we cast that way. So yes, so you will be. They will be.
But let me ask y'all a question. Hold on before I leave.
Yeah.
Since y'all are the ones behind the curtain, if you had to be on any reality show, which one do you think you could see yourself on?
I think this is such a great question. And we've talked about this before. I feel like Big Brother. And I will say, I feel like the casting world, like our offices can be little mini reality shows, right? I mean, it would never work because we clearly, have NDAs and we can't really talk about it on camera. But I think Big Brother would be the one that our jobs have sort of prepped us to be good at.
Okay.
I,
What about
I I agree, and we've like me and Bethany have talked about this. Like we would have our alliance or whatever. I just feel like if I was in that show, it would be very hard for me to. I feel like I would go look
To
like
not tell somebody off.
yeah. I would feel like I would look like a crazy person.
Danny? What's your sign?
um, uh, do you guess signs or no?
Okay, let me try to guess.
Nobody has.
Uh,
You'll never guess my sign. Like I'll give you 5 passes, but nobody ever guesses it.
well, you're not a Capricorn, I can tell you that.
Correct.
Okay. Um, yeah, I'm not getting a vibe.
I'm a Scorpio.
I was gonna say you can't be a Scorpio. That's my partner, Steve.
Yeah.
What's your rising? Do you know your rising?
Oof. I think it might be Scorpio. I think I'm like Scorpio, Scorpio, and then something else.
Yeah, I'm a double cap. So that's like,
Mm.
baby, everything is work and business. Everything's transactional. Everything. And then that's hard. We have to learn to navigate that. Like, it's like
Yeah.
you got to let sometimes, it's like everything can be transactional. Everything, and I had to learn that with like falling in love. Wait, not everything can be transactional. It's like,
Yeah.
As I had to learn to navigate that as like a young gay. It's like, okay. I remember my friends are like, do you not want to have a boyfriend? I'm like, for what? I don't have time. I'm working so much. And I do have a lover, Beyond Belief Dance Company. I mean, my studio is the love of my life. Like I was like, and they're like, well, Justin, but I was like, look, I have men friends. Okay. When I see friends too, and, but they sleep in their bed, they can come over, we can be responsible, do our adult needs. And but they need to go to their bed. That's their place. This is my space. I don't oh my gosh, I'm destined to be single for my whole life. That's a Capricorn. What are you, Bethany? What's your
I'm
sign?
a Gemini, actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Two
da-
people.
dangerous. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, kind of indecisive, can see both sides, very, very, very much like that. But it's interesting that Steve's a Scorpio because my husband and my mom are both Scorpios.
Yeah.
And so is he emotional? Like what can Danny was just saying? I mean, he can be kind of, I guess,
So
emotional.
Steve is like,
Hmm.
well, the interest, I, here's the thing about a Scorpio. They're gonna let you see what they want to show. Don't get it twisted. There's multiple layers there.
Mhm.
And I think that the great thing with Steve is Steve has like a professional side. He has a loving, nurturing side, a very competitive side. You're not going to maybe see all of those at once. So, like, I can see a loving side, but I can also see, I've seen the side of the Scorpio when the tail is like in full throttle, enough. And it's like, and it's just a look and like a slightly tone change. And you're like, we're gonna have a conversation. I know where this is going. I
What an
think Scorpio.
interesting couple too, like the power couple.
Well, we are power, definitely power couple
Mhm.
because a Cap and a Scorpio were like
Yeah.
very passionate people. Scorpios are like they're great lovers. Yeah. Well, you said your husband is a Scorpio.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I was
And
looking at Danny to confirm himself, but yeah, from my side, I definitely can confirm.
well, Scorpios are like they're great. They're great like lovers. They're great partners, and they're great people to have. Like, but when they need to put it down and lay the foot down and say, it's like, I think they can sting. That's what it is. Danny, would you say that about yourself?
Yes, very
Uh,
much. Very much so.
Also, like you have a demeanor of a Scorpio. It's like very it's so fun. It's like it's so inviting. It's like okay, but it's like I always say like I had always been romantically involved with a Virgo. So this was my first. And when me and Steve met, it was like quite interesting because we met on Tinder and I was in a picture with sunglasses on. And then it's like you had to swipe to see all the pictures. It was like, and I think I think that like we chatted, but it was like very odd because I was like very intrigued and interested. It was like, look, we're both not on here enough. We don't play on this enough. Here's my phone. At that point, I was getting burned out with the apps and stuff and like trying to date. Because my friends were like, you need to date. And I was like, I do need to date. I want to start experiencing this and being curious. And then we started, I was like, shared my number, which I don't really do. And then we started like texting for a couple weeks. It was like 4 weeks. And then he was like, hey, can we jump on the call? And our first phone call was we did the New York Times has 50 questions to get to know your potential partner or person. And
Oh,
it was like so cool. It was like very
Yeah.
thoughtful. And we only got through two questions in an hour. And I'm not a big phone
oh,
person. So I was like,
oh.
wait, I'm very much interested in this person. And Danny, you'll be able to understand this. Um, you know, well, Danny, given that, are you gay, Danny? I
Yeah.
probably shouldn't have
Are
assumed that, but I
you?
probably should have. You're like, yeah. But then
Confirmed.
you understand this. So when me and Steve like met for the first time, we went to the Arboretum, which is the nice, like, walking in the flowers in the park over here in Dallas. We never even had the talk of like, are you a top or bottom? Or like, we never had any of those talks because everything was doing these questions. And we just really developed like this sense of like, I like you as a person. And so our worlds just like, I was like, Scorpio thought that that's an interesting match for me, but I went with it, and it's like here we are, almost 5 years later. Yeah,
I
and
love
it's like, and he's like polar opposite of me. It's like it's funny when like Alyssa starts, when I start getting into drag, he'll come backstage, and he's very like, have a wonderful show. You're going to do great things. And he U-turns, he beelines, he knows. He said, when the eyelashes come on, I know there's nothing I can do to help. The tsunami's on its way.
That's
And
right.
I'm rolling out. I'm
Yeah.
rolling out. I'd be
Yeah.
supportive,
Right.
celebratory of queer art. But with all that being said, you know, it's always good to have a good Scorpio in your corner. So
That that's the
Yeah.
truth.
We just
Yeah.
wanted to thank you so much, Justin, for being with us and taking this time. And thank you.
no, I just want to say thank you both. Thank you both for being behind the scenes and working, giving characters like myself, individuals, opportunities to share our um, ourselves, our work, our art, and celebrating for who we are authentically. So thank you very much.
Love that. I loved it. It was amazing. I felt like I was taking to church on a Friday.
Wait, I
Yes.
gotta ask one question before I leave.
Okay.
Bethany, I want to ask you, when you were casting the GOAT, the greatest of all time reality television contestant, why did you choose Alyssa Edwards?
Mm.
Well, I mean, we were looking for icons. So, I mean, that's an easy question to answer.
Thank you so much.
What a great guest. What a great way to start off season two.
Yes. Oh my gosh. He's so fabulous. I like and so like wise and has obviously learned so much through like that the journey, but so open to being like, look, I'm still a work in progress. And I love that so much.
For sure. Such a great storyteller.
Mhm.
Like one of those people that I know when you get on and you like have asked one question and you kind of almost get
Yes.
everything you need from that. I was like, this
Which
is so
makes it
easy.
so easy for us. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I'm so like you just like wrapped listening to all her stories and everything she has to say.
For sure. She has to write a memoir or
I
something. I'm
know. I can't.
sure. It was playing in my mind. And that's how you know it's a
Mhm.
good storyteller. I was seeing the movie in my mind when they were talking.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm sure she's probably got it written. I hope. I hope. I'm excited to see it come out.
Mm-hmm.
I was also thinking, and I probably should have said this at the time, but when, we were talking about her staying in Texas and living there, and, how staying in Texas was probably such a good representation for like other like little Justins like growing up and seeing that. It's funny because I was thinking, yeah, of course. And also even for like, me, like little mixed girl growing up in Indiana, little theater kid, like I remember going to like gay bars with my friends at like 15 and stuff and seeing the like drag queens and being like just eyes like mesmerized by like the fact that because you think of like LA and New York and all that and moving there, and I'm glad that that happened, but that there is such a culture there and places that all around the country and the world that maybe we don't know about, right? That like there's magic there for kids to see, and art and culture in small towns across the Midwest and America.
For sure. Well, I'm really shocked that you saw drag queens at 15. I don't know when the first one I saw, but it was not at 15 years old. I
Oh
don't
my God, Tamika Star. I remember being, and there were like literally like two gay bars in Fort Wayne. There was like Meet the Boys and After Dark. And we would go and just like watch these shows and just sit there and be like, oh my God, like this is like possible. Like this is like so amazing and beautiful and like, and it's here.
Oh, I love that. Do
Yeah.
you know where Tamika Star is
I
now?
don't, I would love to look Tamika. I'm gonna go and do like a hunt for Tamika
Yeah.
after this.
The hunt
See
for
what she's been up to. Hunt
Tamika.
for Tamika.
I love that. Amazing.
So
Well,
you didn't grow up, see, okay, yeah.
oh, sorry. No.
No, I was gonna continue. No, we can stop. That's another time, another conversation.
Another, yeah.
For another casting stories untold.
For sure. Oh my God. Excited to see what's coming up. So happy to be back. And yeah.
Season 2,
Look forward
baby.
to the next one.
Let's go.
Bye.
Bye.